Well, look at you. You're back here at my YouTube channel. I'm really glad you're here. And hey, if you're new here, that would be amazing if you took a moment and subscribed to my channel. I put out a video every week and hopefully it helps you grow as a photographer, videographer, or overall creative. So yeah, subscribe and we can hang out every week and do this. Today I'm going to show you how to use Lightroom and Photoshop to add stars to your photos, and I'm going to show you how to do it really easily and really fast. Before we get into Lightroom and Photoshop, I want to give you guys a few tips to keep in mind when you're on location shooting these sunset photos, knowing that you might add stars to them later. So first off, you want to make sure there's not a ton of clouds in the sky. If you have a bunch of clouds, it's going to be hard to naturally add stars in because they're going to be in the way of the stars. The next thing is you want the top of your sky to be pretty dark. So it helps to shoot a sunset photo about 15 or 20 minutes after the sun has passed below the horizon. This is when you get a nice gradient, the sunset's still really pretty, and you can much more easily add stars to it and it looks more natural. Lastly, try not to add stars to like a daytime photo or I don't know, like a golden hour photo. It's not gonna look that good. I mean, if you want to, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's just gonna look pretty lame. So let's start with Lightroom, and I'm gonna show you how to prep a photo to add the stars to it. So I have my image pulled up here in Lightroom. It's already been edited, and all I'm gonna do to prep it to add stars is add a gradient filter on the sky to make it a little bit darker. So we're gonna quick hit the gradient filter, just drag this down, and let's go to like right there. I'm gonna take the exposure and just slide it down. And I think right about there looks pretty good. And the whole reason I'm doing this is that when I'm adding in the stars, they're gonna look so much better with a darker sky. Now I'm gonna export it, get into Photoshop, and start adding stars. Okay, now for the fun part, let's add some stars to this photo here. And the very first thing you want to do is click this icon here to add a new layer. From here, hit B on your keyboard, which pulls up the brush tool. I want to make sure that I go to my brush settings and make sure they're where I want them. First off, I like to keep the size of my brush somewhere between 6 and maybe 15 pixels. But as I'm adding in the stars, I'm going to vary that size. The next thing I want to do is bring my hardness up just above 50%. I don't want the edges of each star to be too soft. They won't be quite as distinguished as I'd like. Simply going to use a soft round brush. Make sure the color of your brush tool here is set to the whitest white. This will really help the stars contrast nicely against your night sky. Hit OK. And all we're going to do now is just brush in a few stars and put them wherever you want. Now, one thing I will suggest when you're adding in the stars, have your fingers on the 2 bracket parenthesis keys, because that's how you can easily change the size of your brush. As I hit it up, we can get up to like a 15, and let's place it right there, maybe right there, and then let's shrink it back down to like a 7. What this helps is vary the size of the stars, which makes it all look a lot more natural. Now, another thing I'll do is mess with the opacity of the brush. Now that I've got a few stars in here that are pretty bright because it's at 100% opacity, I'm going to take it down to about, let's say like 50%, and start adding in a few more distant stars that aren't all right up front. So I've got quite a few stars here. I like the way they're placed. If there were some I didn't like, just hit E on your keyboard. It's going to take you to the eraser tool, and you can mess with the opacity as much as you want. And I might want to take some out here, or just kind of make them a little bit less bright. And there you go. We got some cool stars on the image. What I might do from here is now take this layer, hit Ctrl J, and hit V on your keyboard, which takes you to the general move tool, and let's take this layer and just start shaping it and messing with it. So now I've just duplicated that layer of stars, and I can now multiply those stars quite a bit. Simply a matter of duplicating these layers, readjusting them until you get stars in your image that you're happy with. So I hope you guys have fun trying this on your photos. Thanks so much for watching this video. Really hope you guys learned something. Definitely subscribe, hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, I don't mind if you hit the dislike. That's all good. Leave a comment, let me know your thoughts on this if you have any questions. And also follow me on Instagram. It's @BrianAdamC. And let's do this again next week because there's gonna be another video and it's gonna be awesome. Peace.